So those are the Department of Indian Work and Project Home are our two historic programs. Opportunity St. Paul is kind of the volunteer funnel for both of our in-house programs, as well as matching volunteers with high impact volunteer work being done out in the community. So Opportunity St. Paul, these are our programs. Like I said, we try to make sure that Project Home and Department of Indian Work have enough drive needs met and volunteer needs met. And then we work with Common Bond communities, Daily Work, Eastside Learning Center, Neighborhood House, Reading Partners, and the St. Paul Public Library. We got to those 6 nonprofits through a community-led process of discerning what were the needs in the community. So one side of the Venn diagram, and what could volunteers from faith communities be doing to meet those needs. In a way, we had experienced such an incredible success story with Project Home in seeing houses of worship come to life. So if you were a house of worship volunteering for Project Home, you had Project Home coming into your house of worship, it meant 80 to 100 people a month were filling volunteer shifts at your congregation. And they were either setting up meals in the morning or the evening, or they were sleeping overnight with families. And in the course of doing that over many, many years, it transformed how people in those congregations understood the realities of homelessness and understood the realities of living in the community that we live in and the barriers faced by many people. And what we wanted to do was we wanted to find organizations that were meeting those similar needs out in the community. And we wanted to plug folks from houses of worship into that work. We wanted to expand it. And so what we did was we worked with community partners, and we also worked with an organization called MDC, which puts out a report called The State of the South. I believe they put it out every year. And they've built an understanding of what are the key pillars that unlock opportunity, that hold up opportunity in communities, and what are the barriers to opportunity. And one of the biggest markers for how people can break out of generational poverty, if they're born into generational poverty, what's one of the best ways that they can, what's one of the key indicators of how they break out? And one of them was post-secondary education credentialing of some kind, whether it's an associate's degree, a bachelor's degree, a certification to become a plumber or a welder. Any kind of certification beyond high school meant that there was a significantly higher chance for that individual, and therefore all the individuals that come after them, of breaking out of poverty. And so what we wanted to do was backtrack and say, where can faith community folks get plugged into work that's going to give folks a better shot at post-secondary education credentialing? And it's tutoring. That's it. So if you take nothing else away from what I'm talking about this evening, my hope is that you get really excited about the opportunity to tutor and to consistently be with kids who are at or just below or struggling in reading, in homework help. The studies show significant increases in opportunity for adding just one adult in a kid's life who cares about their success. So my hope is that that's something that you take away. But these were the 6 organizations that we saw doing that work. So as you can see, a lot of this is homework help and in-school tutoring, study buddies programming. So Common Bond, they actually do housing services, but they also offer some after-school programming embedded into some of their housing sites. And then Daily Work does job coaching and resume building, so helping people kind of ratchet up to the next best job is another way of helping people increase opportunity. And undergirding all of this work in a way to create a continuing education environment for people to understand the personal and the structural barriers to economic stability and mobility. We created learning community events, many of which are on our website. You can see, and they go over all kinds of things, really, really big, meaty issues to very, very specific personal interventions, to personal self-reflections and ways that we have been enculturated that get in the way of us doing effective social justice work and volunteering effectively. So everything from motivational interviewing to trauma-informed care to the state of children's health during and post-COVID, running through poverty simulations, exploring unconscious bias. And then, so that's the Opportunity St. Paul program. Our final program is the free legal services and financial expertise services called Community Power Up. And right now we are currently hosting every first and third Thursday throughout the year at Progressive Baptist Church. There are free legal services available. If you ever hear of anybody contacting you and saying, I need help with X, Y, and Z, and it might be related to some kind of legal issue, connect them with me. We will connect them with Power Up. All the information is on our website as well. The idea here was to take, instead of telling people to try to go find free legal services somewhere, to bring legal services into the community. So Pastor Carl Walker at Morning Star Missionary Baptist Church on Selby Avenue, Randy met with him shortly after she started as our executive director. And she said, what are the needs that you are seeing in your community? And he said, I spend so much of my time trying to figure out how to be a probate lawyer, trying to help people navigate landlord-tenant issues, trying to figure out how to be people's caseworkers. I don't know how to do any of that stuff. I'm not an expert. So it would be great if we could find a way to like bring that in into our congregation, so that I don't have to do this one-on-one. And so they started offering, and the Black churches in and around St. Paul had been working on bringing more and more expertise into the community to educate folks. And so there was already a precedent for this there. And Randy said, well, what if I brought in lawyers? And he was like, absolutely, that would be great. And so we've now set it up. And it was initially at Morning Star Missionary Baptist Church. They underwent construction. There's a whole new building that they got embedded into. So we moved across the street to Walker West Music Academy. COVID hit, we shut it down for a while. It was all over Zoom and via phone. And now we're back up and running in person at Progressive Baptist Church over on the east side of St. Paul. And these are just some of the legal services that are offered. Landlord-tenant or property issues, custody stuff, debt collection, your car gets impounded, you're looking to expunge your criminal record, purchase and service contracts, employment laws, wills and trusts. As long as it's not criminal law, the lawyers can deal with it. Randy has a long background, our executive director, in legal services and legal aid and legal training. And she has connections with the Cardozo Society of Minnesota, which is the volunteer organization for Jewish lawyers in the state of Minnesota. And so that was where the partnership came together. So getting back to that quote that I sort of started off with about building opportunity, I think really why our programs shine and why they make a difference is that they involve all of us, and that it's not a one-way street when we're talking about how we're being restored to wholeness. That in the encounter between people who are looking for certain needs to be met and people who think they have the resources to meet those needs, there's a mutually beneficial recognition, and there's a mutually enhancing encounter that helps restore all of us to wholeness. And so in participating in acts of mercy that restore others to wholeness, all of us can actually be restored to wholeness. That acts of mercy should be done in ways that restore all of us to wholeness. And so my invitation would be volunteer. Volunteer with us. If you don't want to volunteer with us, I know a lot of other organizations doing a lot of great work in and around St. Paul and beyond, even on the west. I live on the other side of the river, the west side of St. Paul, if you will, and some may say. But I would encourage folks to check out what we do. The volunteer form, if you fill this out, and I'd be happy to share any and all of this with folks after our conversation. But hopefully this gave you a little bit of a sense of who we are and what we do. And with that, I'm actually going to end by introducing you to my son, who just walked in the room. This is Hugo. Hugo, can you say hi? Hi.
Daddy.
What is it, Hugo?